and you guys now have 7 records worth of songs to play. How much of a balancing act is it for you guys to pick a set list that will stay true to the staple songs that we all have come to love as part of the Alter Bridge set, plus playing some of the newer stuff? Plus, there's some songs that we've never heard live on an Alter Bridge show. How are you going to balance that going into the Pawns and Kings tour?
That's going to be very challenging, especially considering, when we first started nearly 20 years ago, we were having to put covers in the set just to make sure that we could cover, the 90 minutes to 2 hours that we needed to play. So it's a great problem to have, but yeah, you always run the risk of, that person that pays to see the show and they're like, oh, I wanted to hear, insert whatever song, and then they don't play it, or we don't play it. So that's certainly becoming more of a challenge. And, it's a real delicate dance.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this. I went to go see you and Slash in Vegas, and everyone was like, oh, I can't wait for them to play Starlight. And then Starlight never came, and we're just like, dang it. But,
Right.
but at the same time, it's like, okay, you guys have 4 records out, plus Slash has an incredible array of a library to play from as well. So it's like, I was kind of telling people, I'm like, listen, I won't be surprised if they don't play Starlight, just because they have so much going on. But, it's one of those things where that's a staple, and that's kind of what started the group. How do you, realistically speaking, do you guys sit there and say, okay, we have to play Blackbird, we have to play Watch Over You, like these are the 2 non-negotiables, everything else we can kind of filter in and out? Or do you guys just say, let's just see how we feel on the tour?
I think Blackbird's a non-negotiable. That's one. I don't think you'll ever go to an Alter Bridge show unless we have like a 4.5 minute show where we just can't fit the song in. Yeah,
you can put the solo in.
Yeah, there you go. We'll just come see us play the solo. But yeah, that's non-negotiable. But it's trickier with some of the other ones. What's hard, and you brought up Starlight. What's hard for a rock band is, especially after X amount of records, you've got X amount of ballads or slower songs, right? And and ballads can be important parts of your legacy. But if you have a few that people want to hear, and you put all of them in the set, then you've got less of a rock show, more of a it's nighty night time.
Well, but it's I think that, again, it comes down to a balancing act. But I think, like, if you're talking like, Watch Over You and Blackbird versus maybe like Shed My Skin from the first record, I think people who like Shed My Skin will still pick Watch Over You, if they had to choose one. So I don't think it's going to become that big of a deal when it comes to that particular song. Now, the other thing that I find very interesting of the evolution of Alter Bridge is how much more Mark is taking vocals on each record. It always seems to be at least one song where he's doing vocals. You have Words Darken Their Wings, where he takes part of the song. At some point, are you guys going to become like a 2-man fronted group and go back and forth more often? Or is this just kind of like, again, depends on the song? How's that working for you guys?
I think a lot of it is dictated by the song and the kind of songs that are brought in. For me, like on the new record, Stay was just an obvious Mark song. It initially was presented that I was going to sing it, and I was the guy that I remember talking with Elvis, and like, this is a Mark song. Mark should sing this. It's great in his range. It's right in his range. He's got a great timbre. Why not utilize that? And so I think that it's just become such a hallmark. I guess we started doing this on Fortress, if I remember correctly, where we started integrating the 2-singer approach. And how will that play out on future records, I guess, remains to be seen or heard, no pun intended. But I love it, because for me, I get to step back and just play guitar. And during the set, it's great because it's a rest that I need, especially as, we're an interesting band because we're not like, we're getting to the point where we've been doing this long enough. We're getting to a certain age. And as a singer, especially a singer that sings higher and whatnot, a lot of guys by this point start doing, a show and then 2 days off, show, 2 days off, and it lets things kind of bounce back. we're not one of those bands. We aren't in that position. We have multiple shows in a row. And so I'm always having to think about how do you pace that? How do you pace the set so that you can still do the important songs in the catalog? And so for me, it's great having another singer where I can kind of let that happen. Let those 3.5 to 4 minutes of rejuvenation from my vocal cords, and then we can continue the set.
With this upcoming tour, I'm personally going to at least 2 shows just because I want to try to see as much diversity in the sets as possible. For you as a performer, I know what songs I'm looking forward to hearing, from the discography. What song off of Pawns and Kings are you most excited to play live in front of these massive crowds that especially in Europe, they're going to be playing in front of, stadiums and arenas. What song are you looking forward to playing the most?
That's a tough one. I'm curious how if Fable of the Silent Sun will be interesting. Because it just seems like it would be a real challenge. How we'll recreate some of that live. So that part excites me. But also, I'm hoping we're going to play Stay so that I can take a break and Mark can sing.
I feel like we're going to get like a Mark block.
That's fine with me.